Welcome back, everyone, to Brown Bag Bets, powered by BETSPERTS, where your daily dose of quick hit handicapping and sports betting picks. I'm Alex Christenson, and joining me, as always, Mr. Andy Molitor, and we have a guest, a guy that I see all the time. You might know him as my cohort on the Net Worth Pod. You might watch him on his daily show for Run Pure. We talk tennis, we talk basketball. Spread, how are you?
I'm great. Happy to be on, hanging out with you guys, talking the NBA playoffs. One of the most exciting first rounds we've had in years.
How's it treating you so far? I know I don't have the bandwidth to track every single person I like to talk to and like how they're doing and what they're betting. I know you did win a bet last night because I happened to catch that you were going to shave a stupid mohawk in your head if the Hawks won. Boy, you were looking like you needed to oil up the trimmers at halftime.
Yeah, well, you know, as a Kings fan, Andy, I don't get a chance to really get invested in a basketball game very often, so I figure I had to up the stakes a little bit and really feel like a hardcore Rabid fan, and it did the trick. I was quite wild last night.
It was a lot of fun to watch the Knicks, and like you said, I mean, just a lot of things going for them. We were pretty bummed at halftime. Sorry to the people for giving you Knicks first half. I guess we should have gone full game there. How do you see the rest of that series playing out? I mean, we talked a little bit before the show. Atlanta looked, pretty slow and frankly a little disinterested there in that second half as the Knicks started to pull away a little bit. Do you think Atlanta goes home, wins those two games? Do you think the Knicks can be dangerous there? How do you see that playing out?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. We saw Atlanta run out of gas there in the third quarter when the Knicks made that run that it didn't seal the game, but it put them in commanding position, allowed them to kind of apply scoreboard pressure there in the fourth quarter. Atlanta looked exhausted, and I know I did see some criticism about the amount of minutes that McMillan played as starters, but from my eyes, I mean, those guys were tired. You had to sub them out. And you got to think about it. This is a young team. They're in the Garden. How exciting was that Game 1 win? Not necessarily super surprised they ran out of gas. I expect them to see reinvigorated when they come back. But we talked a little bit before we went on, right? This is setting up for a nice 4-3 win for New York. I can see them stealing one in Atlanta. And I think if it does get to Game 7, if it's in the Garden, that atmosphere might be too much for the young Atlanta team. And I still like Thibodeau a little more than McMillan in this matchup so far.
Goddamn right. And I did, I don't remember whose recommendation it was, but I do have some Knicks plus 236 to win the series after Game 1. I don't know if it was you or Drew or somebody just telling me
Probably
hey,
Drew.
I think it was Drew, but also your bet and how you framed it before the series when you put out your 4-3 prop bet. You said, this is a coin flip series all the way down. I said, yeah, they stole the game on the road, but getting, almost 250 on the team felt good. So I was feeling awful at halftime as well, Spread, as I was like, oh, this is, I could have got 5-1 at the end of the day, but no, it is back down around even, a little bit better. It looks like the Hawks are minus 140, minus 150. They did steal a game on the road, but I fully expect the Knicks to be able to do something like that in Atlanta as well. So hopefully we see 7 for Noops' sake, and for my sake. At this point, selfishly, I wouldn't care if the Knicks just won 4-1. So, but my question was there was some criticism on Twitter about Knicks fans, like the party they had in the street on 7th Avenue and stuff, act like you've been there or something. Christ, it's been a while.
Yeah.
And especially put yourself back in bubble ball or even before the season and the expectations for this Knicks team, how much we were making fun of this Knicks team 2 years ago and even last year. I don't care. Go have a party, climb the poles, act like you won the title. That's fun, especially when at the beginning of the year, even if you just said hey, you guys are going to be in the playoffs, a lot of people will be like, yeah, but can we even go to a game? It was awesome to see the Garden rocking. So I'm fine with it. And Atlanta's full capacity. That's going to be, I think this atmosphere is going to continue again everywhere but Oregon.
Yeah. The Knicks New York has to love this team. I mean, it's a hardworking team. Again, like you said, it's been forever. I'm happy that the Knicks are happy and that a New York fan did something crappier than throw popcorn on Russell Westbrook. So good job last night, New York.
Yeah, pretty much.
So as we look forward,
what was the game? Yeah, that was the Knicks game where somebody spit on.
Somebody at the Knicks game spit over. It was over 50 Cent's head too. That's the funny part of the highlight.
That's ballsier than spitting on an NBA player. Spitting over 50 Cent. I wouldn't do that either way. So, and Dan does say the Hawks are something like 13-2 under McMillan at home. Well, it's the playoffs. I don't know. Hopefully,
Regression
I
or
know.
something.
I know. Dan's an Atlanta fan. I know he'll be cheering for the Hawks. I will be against that all the way. So
I think the Knicks had a really good record at home too, though. I mean, I remember touting that when I gave out the Knicks game one, their home record. So things do change in the playoffs.
So we got a big game tonight, Spread. Miami going back home, down 0-2, game 3 here. The Bucks with a 2-0 lead. Won a tight game in game 1, blew the absolute doors off of them in game 2. How are you feeling about that series? What are you expecting tonight? We talked about it a little bit before the show. I'm on Miami tonight. I don't think they're going to get swept, and I think this is the game that they win. It's partially that. Looking at some of the other things, I expect some Spoelstra adjustments tonight. I think that Milwaukee, again, the shooting will regress somewhere between game 1 and game 2, and we should have a close game, and I like Miami at home tonight. But how are you seeing that play out, and how do you feel about Milwaukee in general?
Yeah, so, because we talked about it, I was pretty big on Milwaukee here to come out of the East, and that's my biggest exposure as far as the future goes. So I'm be rooting for Milwaukee, but I do think tonight is the night that you jump on board with Miami. I expect to see really positive improvement for Miami's three-point shooting. Hero, Duncan, Dragic, we'll see all those guys get going. The role players should play much better. As much as I do think that Milwaukee will do very well in the playoffs, I think this will be a loss on their path to the title.
So you've got a bunch of Milwaukee stuff. I'm looking at them plus 260 to win the East right now. Are you still backing them, or have you got enough on your plate?
Yeah, I have enough on my plate, and I just went for the full title odds, and my idea there is I think that they match up very well against whoever comes out of the West. I was originally handicapping it as the LA teams. Now it looks like I should probably only be concerned with one of those LA teams, but I do like that matchup.
Yeah, we've got two Western Conference. Go ahead, Andy.
Oh, it's funny too. Like we talked a little off the air about this, and it feels like if the Heat need this one. Although there's two trains of thought. Either like the Bucks win this game and just go out and party and don't worry about it because they have 4 chances to win one more, or like the Heat just give up. Like if you're down 3-0 to a team like this, I don't know what kind of effort you're going to get in the game 4. So if you get the I'm fully agreeing, and this maybe is just casual NBA Andy narrative, but like if you get the gentleman's sweep, it feels like game 3 at home is like this is your up game. All right, we're the series hasn't started yet, you guys. The series hasn't even really started.
I don't think a Jimmy Butler team gives up though. At down 3-0, I would take Miami. Even if I miss tonight, I'll come back. I would come back with them on game 4. A Jimmy Butler team's not giving up.
Yeah, we were talking about some of the adjustments. I wonder if Spoelstra just runs out of stuff too. Like if whatever he's put together doesn't work in game 3, it's probably not going to work in game 4. And as we went through it again, we're not professional NBA coaches and stuff. He's much smarter and better at this than us, but it's hard to figure out what else he can do at this point. Maybe some small ball lineups and stuff like that, but you're still feeling pretty good about the Bucks, huh? You think they can beat the Nets and Andy and I's Philadelphia 76ers?
I do think I like that Andy's joined you being a Sixers fan. Yes, I mean, it's really a value play, right? I mean, I got close to 10-1 plus 950 there, and I just like their chances once you figure out the odds there. I really do like the matchup with Brooklyn. I think that they'll be able to match up well on the defensive end, and I think that if after you go against Miami, that Brooklyn defense is going to seem a little easier to score against. It's like when we turn down the difficulty level on the video games, and all of a sudden we're just running, dunking, hitting those 3-pointers. So I do like the matchup there, and then of course I am worried about Philadelphia. I think that's a tougher matchup for the Bucks than the Nets, even of course because Joel Embiid is the one guy that nobody really matches up with, right? Not even Rudy Gobert. So obviously I am concerned there. Not to mention Philadelphia, probably an easier road to get there. Should expect a rested team, maybe a little more prepared, right? I mean, the Lakers were talking about having less time to prepare when you have to play and the other team's sitting at home. So I am a little worried about that matchup, but at the numbers, I do like the value I got in Milwaukee.
Yeah. So we'll switch over to the Western Conference.
I feel like he was taking a shot at me there with the turning down the difficulty level in the video game, just because that's what I do with the golf game.
I totally do that at my age. At my age, I'm not trying to get stressed out by a video game. I want to dominate.
Yeah, I like to just win, and I feel like I've got the bracket mixed up. Is that it would be Bucks Nets next round, right?
Exactly,
100%. So I get, and for that matter too, I wonder if it would be better if we could get some Heat to play, win this game and then a real competitive game 4 or even a game 4 win. And then maybe it does end up being Bucks and 6 where it was never really in doubt with some of the home games. And then the Celtics just kind of roll over and die. And we can get good value on maybe like even Bucks plus 1.5 on this series plus some series price. So I kind of like now I am cheering for the Heat. And I will say, like, I do have this built up here. Look at Alex. He's behind the banner now. You can't even see him. I'm going to leave him there. Like, this is maybe an improvement to the show. Oh, he took it away, but you did play the Heat. You did play the Heat tonight. And yeah, getting a plus number like that, I don't hate that at all, especially, a team that did play so closely in game 1. But yeah, what were you going to say about Western Conference?
Yeah, I mean, we'll dive into that. We got 2 games tonight spread. You've got the Lakers against the Suns. I mean, Lakers are pretty big favorites. You've got Denver at Portland -4. Any feelings on either of those games tonight? And, maybe we'll talk about the series at large, but we'll start with tonight.
Yeah, so I'm really disappointed, right, as most basketball fans are, in the Chris Paul injury. I think that I don't know if it necessarily puts a nail in the coffin because I don't want to speculate on how injured he will be. He didn't look healthy in the last game, though. That's for sure. So that's obviously an issue there. That being said, I do like Phoenix to keep it close tonight. I think that one of the great things, right, about legalization and all this new influx of bettors into the market is you have all these people who don't know that LeBron never covers, right? I mean, they just think, I'm not betting against LeBron, right? Well, we've been doing this for years, right? So we know this guy gets W's, but he's not good as a favorite of 5 or more, right? You take him as a short favorite, and you definitely take LeBron as a dog. Don't take him as a favorite of 5 or more, right? So when I'm getting a lot of points like this, I usually do like taking the dog in these close games. Not to mention, I like the under in this game, which means I'm more inclined to take the points here. So I do like Phoenix.
Yeah, I like that. The underdog is more valuable when we got an under. I know 7's a lot, but I mean, what did you think of Chris Paul? I didn't watch too much of it. I'll have to go back and watch a little more tonight. But how limited did he look to you? I mean, should they even have him on the floor?
I mean, they should just for the floor generalship, and I think that you still need him on the defensive end, but I don't think he can really shoot the ball that well. So you're missing that extra option on offense, and it definitely showed. And then, of course, and I'm going to ruin this tonight because, I'm going to be watching, and they're going to do it again. But so Alex Caruso is a really good defender if his opponent is about his size or smaller. But once his opponent starts to get bigger than him, he really gets limited. He uses his body a lot, kind of like a bully defender, right? And Booker he does really well against him. So they moved Davis on him. And now you can see Booker get kind of hesitant because Davis is almost as quick and he's a lot longer. And even when he's not, in danger of making the block, the contest is still so solid. And it's really tough for Booker. And without that second option, the Suns are really struggling to exploit it. But I do have faith in Monty Williams. I don't know what it will be, but I think that there might be a wrinkle tonight that's going to allow them to keep it close. Who that's going to be, I don't know. I'll probably have to find out from these DFS shows. Maybe they'll know because they'll be rostering some guy that's like 3,500 on DraftKings or something.
It's just a shame. Chris Paul gets hurt every year in the playoffs. Like, can we have one postseason where he's healthy? Usually it's his hamstring. Now
it's like he's hurt.
It's just a shame.
Yeah, I want to know like what he did as a basketball fan and like in a former life, like to come back as this cursed entity because it's just terrible. I mean, how happy were they this year? I mean, we thought that Phoenix was going to be better, right? But we didn't think they were going to be the 2 seed, right?
No.
Great. So it was LA. That was how it was.
Yeah.
That was your exacta, LA in any order, which, I just pulled up cause I'm not even, on the same page as knowing what 3 games are tonight until I check, because again, the schedule always goes to me and that bottom one is really staring at me. I really need you to pump us up here and you better have the right answer to this or so help me God, I'll just cut your stream. We have Blazers futures. Is it again? No fans sucks, but it's a better team with better weapons. Are we bounce back Blazers today? Are they covering? Are they? I mean, it's only 4. Is it anything you're looking at, or what are we doing? I'm not betting them because I'm balls deep into them already. But can they at least get the win tonight at home?
Yeah, I was leaning towards taking the points here. I was a little surprised. I thought that I would wake up and there would be more points. Denver didn't take money overnight. It was 4 last night. When I went to bed, it's still 4. I thought Portland was going to take a lot of money going back home, and with how dominant they looked in game 1. So if this gets a little higher, I'll look to jump in the Nuggets. Not necessarily. I mean, obviously, I do think they have a chance to win, but I do definitely think that they can keep it close. But I want a couple more points because, of course, in the close game, those will be so much more valuable. This has been a really tough series for me to handicap so far. And, I mean, in game one, their guards look so overmatched, right? But they were able to get it done in game two. We talked about the adjustment, and I think this might be a common theme in the new NBA, right? It's putting your bigger players on these guards, not for the shot blocking or the steals, but just for the contest. And we saw that Denver did that with Aaron Gordon on Lillard in game two. It seemed to be effective. Let's see if Lillard figures it out, though. At this age and with his career, I think that Lillard's going to be able to adjust better than Booker did.
Yeah, it's like a 6-point adjustment over the last line. I was looking, the last game closed 2.5, so 5.5, 6-point adjustment. That looks mostly like just kind of a home court adjustment for me. I mean, would you hang 4 spread? I mean, does that number make sense to you? Were you
The number makes sense to me right
or
now.
Would you make it a bigger number? Sorry.
Yeah, no, I think this is the right number. That's why I wanted the public to move the value for me and grab Portland. I mean, grab Denver at 5 or 5.5, right? Like if at 5.5, I was like, okay, that's my entry point for sure. Otherwise, I'm going to think about it. But it seems like they're getting even money, which to me it's the right number, and it seems like the public and the market thinks it's the right number too.
Andy, can we kick a viewer out of the show? I don't like Joel. I don't like what he's doing.
Joel.
There.
No, Joel's good people, but I mean, he just misguided. Maybe he's from Denver. That's what I thought Spread was talking. That's what I thought Spread was talking about when he said legalization. I thought we were going to go right to like California. This is a Cali guy. Like, oh, gambling. I thought you meant people getting blazed and making bad bets. I think it happens for a number of reasons. People make bad bets, but no, 3 games tonight. Poor Joel. No, we're just
we're gonna have to get you out here to make some bad bets sometime, Andy. We'll pump up the MGs there on the edibles.
Yeah, we have to go over to Tahoe to do things, but I mean, there's ways around things, but for the most part, California is kind of in the same spot as Minnesota. It might be a while before we end up with legalization. I'm still popping down to Iowa if I want to deal with them. So just real quick before we let you go, anything on Friday night's games that has piqued your interest yet? Atlanta laying 4 at home, Celtics 7-point home dog, which is pretty funny. And the Clippers favored on the road, down 2-0 to the Mavs.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Mavericks money line. I touted the Clippers the last couple of days. I really thought that they were going to do better. This was really disappointing. Not the result, of course, but of the effort. I mean, Paul George is not even fighting through these switches at all. I'm just watching him out there. It's like we're supposed to have these 2 shutdown wing defenders, and they're just lazy switching and allowing Dallas to attack the weaker defenders. Okay, well now you're just going to give away your advantage that easily. Really frustrating. Ty Lue's rotations have been absolutely terrible. I can't think of a coach whose stock has dropped more dramatically this offseason. It's only been 2 games. I mean, this postseason, it's only been 2 games. But wow, I mean, these rotations look overmatched. Doesn't look like he's using his strengths at all. Rondo, Ibaka, they're all yelling at each other on the sideline. I can't really believe in this Clippers team. I'm haven't done it yet, but I'm definitely tempted by Dallas +2. Probably grab the points with the Knicks. And what was the third game that they're going to play tomorrow?
Celtics 7-point dogs. 7-point dogs at home.
I don't know what you do with that.
How do you take Boston?
I think you just watch the game and like you hope Boston has like a run and you could maybe bet the Nets at like 4.5.
Yeah,
I hope it starts like game 1, right?
Yeah. How much would all right? We have 3 minutes left in the first quarter. How much would the Celtics have to be up by for them to hang like Nets -4? 15?
11.
Yeah,
double digits.
It's double digits. So I mean, it probably not a super bettable game there. You just kind of let that one pass and watch the Nets continue to just. And the injury obviously was a big deal, but it's still not. It's still a bit of a mismatch. So, real quick too, before we let you run, do you have a French Open women's future? Do you have anything there? Quick.
No, I'm
draws out.
Yeah, it just came out like right before we came on. I'm still gonna have to look into it. So I'll get back to you guys on that one, but I don't want to give out one right now. I'll admit the NBA. the schedule on the NBA screwed me up right now because we should be in the conference finals right now, right? So I should only be handicapping 2 NBA games, which would give me it would be teams that I cap for 3 rounds now in the postseason. So I'd be really more familiar with them. I would actually have like a postseason model set up. So this whole schedule, I do not like having the first round and the French Open at the same time. I can't wait till next year when we get back on schedule, because for someone who caps the NBA and the WTA, they're really loading up my schedule, and I'm not as young and spry as Noop, so I've definitely fallen behind. But thanks for having me on, guys. I love listening to it every day. You know, I catch it on the podcast form. I think it's really cool that you guys get it up real quick, and you know, and unless you're talking about horse racing, because I don't have that much gamble in me. You guys do a great job with all the content. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Yeah, cool. Where can people find your stuff? I know you are pumping stuff out. Like I said, I watched a video of you swearing to the Lord Jesus that you would cut a mohawk in your hair if the Knicks didn't win.
Yeah, like
Really
I said,
cool
Andy, it's it's been a long time since I really felt the thrill of playoff basketball. So it was a nice little surrogate there. I'm just at Spread Astaire. I do a daily rundown show at 1 p.m. Eastern where I just talk about the NBA. We get out some picks, and we mix it with DFS. So we also try to give out some of the players that we are targeting when we're building lineups on DraftKings and FanDuel. So you can find me at Spread Astaire. And, pumping out content and switching back into tennis mode real soon. Maybe catch a couple all-nighters, start drinking some Rockstar again.
There you go. Yeah, get the energy drinks out. All right, definitely, like you said, follow him over on Twitter. I'm sure he'll have some tennis stuff up once he gets a chance to dig into this draw. That's what you do during the Nets game. You dig into the WTA draw.
Thank you.
That's what you can do during this time. So, all right, thanks a lot, Spread. We'll catch you later.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me.
Golf started.
Love that guy.
It's
a shame we had no cat cameos. Usually there's a cat that'll show up because he looks like Dr. Evil too. He'll pick the cat up and he starts like.
Yeah, of course. HJ made a funny comment about him looking like it. He said murdering teenage hitchhikers. I think Spread looks like he's got a big smile on his face all the time. So, before we run to, you had a couple quick picks. I don't have anything just because it's golf. The round is going on right now. My round 2 plays I'll just post on Twitter and BETSPERTS later. But a couple quick French Open qualifying picks for you. Mora Rubarena. I went right to the end.
That's what we're doing here. There's no Coco Golf over, so they continue to underprice Lara here. I mean, I look at this line. Let me just double check what it was right now. But, she's playing someone that, she's minus 375. She's playing Carol Zhao, who had a nice couple of qualification wins, but again, way below her level, way below her experience. I have this closer to minus 500. I'm going to put her together with Storm Sanders, the Australian, who's again had a great week playing. Susan Van Dekke, who again is just not at her level. I look at this at minus 180. I think it should be minus 250. And we talked a little bit about that. We talked a little bit about this before the show. It's hard to say. Instead of just playing the big juice like that, the nice thing about parlays is if, I think I have an edge and I put it together, it's still 2 edges. So, that's when parlays tend to work in your favor. So I like that there. And then an underdog, Arena Maria Barra, just a very, very good clay player playing against Magdalena Freck. Simply just kind of a numbers play for me. The two of them have been in about the same form, similar spots, in their career, if you will. But from a numbers perspective, I have Barra a small favorite here. So, plus 105 or better looks good to me. And then Elizabeth Cochereta, somebody we bet a lot during the hard court season. She hasn't played a lot of clay yet, but had a nice week in playing Jiyu Wang, a Chinese player who, again, someone I like to back, but I have Cochereta out to like minus 150, almost minus 155 here. So minus 127 is good. Probably would draw the line there right around minus 135. So 3 for qualifying there. They should all be very early East Coast tomorrow.
Yeah, it looks like I just pulled up Storm Sanders to see if that's her actual real given birth name. And it is, which is awesome. And she beat that half decent Turkish girl, and Kawa was seated in the qualifiers, and she took her out in a hurry. So I'm a Storm Sanders guy now, I guess. So 3 qualifiers there. Yeah,
you need to get her to play Hurricane Tyga Black.
Oh yeah, I had forgotten about that girl. Oh, but yeah, Storm Sanders. I stand for Storm Sanders now. I'll play all that because I don't have much going on in tennis. If you can still find it on the deep dive last night, we talked about how we all like Steph Steph Tsitsipas. I've bet on him before. He's having a great clay season. He's having a good season overall. He's starting to reach his potential, and he was given a honey of a draw.
Oh.
So last night on the deep dive, we bet him at plus 750. That was available a little bit this morning, down to 550, 600, mostly through the market. If you can find a 600,
650 still around if you hunt.
Yeah, I would still play a 600 or better if you can get that. He is on the opposite side of the draw of a lot of good players, so he probably should
favorite all the way through the finals. Like it's
somebody who models tennis just hit me and said that he has them at minus money to make the final according to his numbers. So he should on each way. And each way doesn't sound too bad. So Steph Tsitsipas, and look at this. Joey has Steph at 25-1 before Monte Carlo. I know some people who did that. I don't feel as bad now that the number's gone down at having a bad number, but I do know. Congrats to Joey and some other guys who got an early number. We'll be back tomorrow with a Baseball Friday. Quick thanks to the sponsor WinBet, where your $500 risk-free bet can be placed on a variety of sports, including some nice underdogs here as we get into round 1 of the French Open coming right up. Check out the links in the pinned tweet. Emergency deep dive this afternoon. If you made it this far, if you're listening to the podcast, I absolutely do not remember the time because we just had to change it. It will be at roughly 3 Eastern. We're going to get BETSPERTS CEO Reed Rooney on to just answer some, because there were some questions about the acquisition. Some people had questions about how it was all going to go and if there'd be any changes. There were some people that are big fans of the fantasy life that wanted to know if there'd be any changes. So just going to go right to the horse's mouth, have him explain a few things. So we'll check you tomorrow. And if you do want to tune in, it'll be right here on the same YouTube channel for the emergency diving. Otherwise, we'll catch you here tomorrow for Real Frank Brank Baseball Friday. See you guys.
And still no masked expert picks. I'm going to ask. He's not going to give them to me.
Well, yeah, I don't even know if there's a market up for that yet. I will check into that tonight for sure.
Good.
See you guys.